Hey, what's going on, people? Kind of want to get right to it. This is shift talk, but we're talking in the Bossmanship section. So we're picking up on shift talk number 2, but we're talking about the mindset of getting to where we need to be more comfortable with humanity, being at a good trajectory. Do we feel like right now that humanity is in a good place to be on a positive trend? I say to you, we are not. Data shows it, and certain life situations and experiences show it. And so the shift talk, we talked about, kind of being more directed in sustainability, being more aware of really what's going on and who we are as people. And that's really under Bossmanship. So we talk about the goal and getting there. But who we are as people is so important. People, like, to get to these certain levels of consciousness and really, I need to sit down and think of the word I need to use here. Ascending into a certain level of knowing that humanity will continue. You can look at the news, and sometimes on our day-to-day jobs, that's not enough to tell me that tomorrow is guaranteed. And really, truly, our efforts, even if we start to really, as a generation, 80s baby, stand up, as a generation, start moving towards being that great generation and making a mark and setting a mark to ascending to guaranteeing, or not guaranteeing, but I guess guaranteeing sustainability in multi fashions, like here on planet Earth and beyond. It takes a certain kind of person to be able to be enlightened enough to be aware of that inevitability, like the fact that we want to continue. That's why we work and do the things we do. But speaking from a black man in America's perspective, my tribe hasn't done enough, in my opinion. I don't know about your tribe. So it's important that I speak out on this. Me personally, I've come from a place of addiction, perversion, you name it, man, just amok. It's old, and I couldn't live. I was given certain blessings, man, and we all are, really, and I don't know. At some point, I realized what I was throwing away. I realized at some point it started finally sinking in that, as a young kid, I made a lot of bad decisions, but here I am, still making bad decisions, but here I am, Now I've got a little bit better head on my shoulders. I feel driven and more motivated to really kind of speak back to a kid that's living in those same shoes. Speak back to a kid that is in the same path that I was on. If it wasn't for the blessings of the families that took me in their homes and my high school sweetheart, it could have easily been me. So I am truly blessed. Not lucky. Yes, lucky, I guess, but it doesn't matter, man. It came from. There's no other way of describing or explaining how I am where I am today. Who am I to not speak on that? As far as motivating a kid that's in my, could be possibly going down my path that I once did. Nonetheless, we're here to talk about bossmanship within the shift talk. I think that we got to kind of look at some of what we're putting out. We all believe, and we all want to talk or say that we believe in the word karma, and that's for a different topic because it's so deep. But we really need to look at who we are as individuals, because without that as being the mark, we really won't be able to reach down into what we're capable of. If that makes any sense at all. I think that if I were to continue running amok and using drugs and being the perverted guy that I was and thought, and stealing and lying and being a shitty dad, if I were to continue on some of these thoughts and hopes, they would be dwindled. And how would I answer to my maker? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a feeling that we all are going to start feeling through this process. And it's for a different topic, the process I'm speaking of. A lot of scientists and deep spiritual theorists, or whatever you want to call it, label people, believe that there's a frequency or a level of energy that will heighten your willingness to want to be curious, but it's all for a different topic, and I apologize for veering off, but bossmanship is important, man, and it really starts with the small wins, is what I call it. One thing you'll hear me talk often about is trash path, or pick up the trash in your path, and I look at that as a small win, and it becomes a habit that you carry home, you carry everywhere you go. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. And to argue against that tells me you're nasty. And, at one point I started growing, like, looking how I lived. And, back when I was in high school with my wife, she and I were driving. I threw a whole damn bag of Taco Bell out of the window. And she gave me the third degree. And from that point on, I'm like, she's right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is our planet, bro. This is all we got. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we got to get more, if that makes any sense. But it makes things real once you're able to develop that habit, and that's a small win. You know what I mean? Never mind what the shit may look like. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine the good karma that you put out? And it's not for that. These are all the reasons of why to do something like that. You know what I mean? You're fighting against climate change. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're doing all these good things, and you're doing that one good thing, and this is all these great things that come from it. Waving, smiling. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's time for that mug. You know what I'm saying? There's time where my big dog's got to clock in and have that mug on. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with not smiling. You don't always have to have a smile on your face. But in terms of inspiring, I know I've been told I've always looked intimidating growing up by little kids, and so I try to carry a smile around a kid, But that's a small win to me. And whatever your small win is, create that and put that in your bossmanship box. Carry that around with you and be proud of it. Never mind what the big homie might think or little homie might think that you picking up trash that's in your path. I guarantee you that's going to be a habit that rubs off on them. You know what I'm saying? And it's a good-ass habit. I'm telling you. You know what I mean? And those are all things that I think people that are native to this country I know have in them. So, you know what I mean? I think every American has that in them. You know what I mean? We've just been, like, my wife, she brought that out in me. She said that for me to wake up and really grab a hold of mama and clean myself up and pick up after myself. I think we were 16 or 17 years old. And it really just dawned on me that I've been picking up trash in my path for that long. It hasn't been on a consistent basis because I've been high for a little while, you know what I mean? About But but I mean, it really became a habit, and that was from me throwing trash out of her little white Sunfire. You know what I mean? And God may forgive me for that, and I think I've been forgiven. But that's a small bossmanship win, guys, and we should be proud of that, and know that when we're making those moves towards bossmanship, we're sustaining humanity, and here on planet Earth or beyond. So that's important to the shift talk. We're talking about trying to get to a certain place, and we're talking about this big word, sustainability. How are we gonna meet those goals, right? 80s babies. We'll meet those goals by looking within who we are as people. As we look in who we are as people, we're like, damn, my closet's dirty as hell. My closet's dirty as hell, and I'm not trying to preach, because my closet dirty and ain't none of your business. And how your closet's set up is none of my business or anybody else's business. But we need to make sure we know what's in the closet. We need to make sure we got a dirty hamper in there. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody perfect, and that's for a different topic. What perfect even means. We gonna have some dirty clothes in our closet. We gonna have some shit that ain't nobody business in our closet. But a lot of times it gets out of control. A lot of times we ignore that closet's even there. But that's how those changes are made. That's how it was for me. And when we talk shift talk, we need to be in bossmanship. I think that at any level of anything professional, you have to rise and elevate yourself. And anybody can make those moves. You don't have to train yourself or work or put yourself in through a career to do that. Like, if you carry yourself like that to each human being that you encounter, you know what I mean? You're CEO level material, if that makes any sense. Treat people with respect and think with an ethical mind and heart. You know what I mean? And those are all no brainers. But if we're talking about sustaining our lives here on in humanity, create new legacy and continuing legacy here on planet Earth and beyond, you have to be a certain type of people or people. You have to be a certain individual to be able to achieve those things. So I say this message isn't for everybody. There's things that are a continuum. Like, once you look inside of you, you will, from that day on, will always be working on you. And it's fun. It really is fun, especially the more that you're prepared to handle that truth, you'll be able to acknowledge some crazy shit about yourself. You know what I mean? But how could you not be presented to be, respected and supreme to a higher power? Why wouldn't God be like, I'm proud of you, son? Why wouldn't a higher power be like, I'm so proud of you? You know what I mean? Those are boss moves of going against the grain and deciding to do what's right, or to do what if you're already doing what's right, to do it times 10 for the sake of continuing humanity and knowing that you're continuing on legacy. Because I tell you now, I worked in the DME industry, and I tell you guys, death is real. Death is a very real thing. And I've had conversations with drop-offs and pickups from people that were in the process of leaving planet Earth or dying or transferring energy, whatever you want to label it. And a lot of them will say, did I do enough? Is their question, And that's really what it is, man. And it's easy because society has been drawn out to this point of work, relaxation on the weekends, try not to think about work and other shit, bills, you know what I'm saying? Like, with my family, transportation, bills, medical bills. With my family, it was food. Till I got, I'm telling you, it's a real thing, especially in America. Not only in America, but just imagine the rest of the world, guys. If this is the greatest country in the world, I don't know if everybody should enjoy the lifestyle of America. I don't know if that should be in every country. I don't know. But I know in this country, if we want it, we work our ass for it, and it's possible. Everything is here in America. And I think that to make me feel comfortable with the situation that I have lived my life up to, being a 34-year-old man with half a college education, just recently fought a battle of drugs, you know what I mean, interracial relationship, job to job, you know what I'm saying, coaching football, you know what I mean, and there's a lot of things stacked up against breaking through that wall of legacy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm starting from a disadvantage. I don't give a shit who you are. You know what I mean? And that's not fair for me to say that, because there's people that have less than me, And see, that's the beauty of really kind of keep growing. Like, I can't believe I said that, but there's people that have it worse than me and they become successful, and so there's really no excuse. But my niche is, and I believe that my responsibility is to work with kids, coaching, but I have this deep passion and belief that life is so important and the game of sports is so important. It's not just coaching to me. It's continuing that shit. It's to make sure that football, basketball is to forever be played. That's the passion I have for it. And there's no field for that, especially for a black man that screwed up his whole life, you know what I mean? And especially with sports. And so I'm going to speak on it, you know what I mean? The sports and space programs that needs to happen. And just other stuff that I would love to put forth, but there's a starting point, right? What if the minds aren't there, right? And so here's a conversation. What are we staying fit for? You know what I mean? To wake up tomorrow, to look good, to feel good. You don't think your children want to feel that feeling that you have of that want? You don't think your children's, and if you don't care if your children's or your children don't care, then how could you say you love them? That feeling of feeling good after a good workout, tasting your sweat, and I'm just a nasty dude. I like to taste my sweat sometimes after a hard workout. You know what I mean? And just feeling uppy and motivated and just, bro, that's meant to be passed on. And continue. Like, wake up the next day and feel that way and see it in your kids. Oh. And then just know that whatever radius that you have impact on can share that same energy. You know what I'm saying? And how do you talk about this to who's prepared to hear this? You know what I mean? I feel like it's meant for the right ears. And so this isn't for everyone. You know what I mean? And don't let me push what you don't want on. You know what I mean? Don't let me push what you don't want. I'm talking for those that are prepared to hear this. It is a shift talk. And in the shift talk, you have to be boss enough. And not everybody's boss enough to look. I'm out.